Hello guys, welcome to my channel, and in today's video we are going to learn how to create a connected app and how can we proceed with SFDX deployment. So we have already done the installation of SFDX CLI in our local machines, and now we want to connect it with our Salesforce org. Now to do so we have to create a connected apps, and as you can see, I'm logged into my Salesforce org. You have to go to the setup. Uh, if you are not aware of how to go to setup, you can click on this gear icon and click on setup. And setup, you need to search for app manager. So once you click on the app manager, you will be able to see all the apps in your Salesforce org. Now I want to create a new connected app, so I'll click on this option on top right. So once you click on this, you have to provide the detail of these. You can select a logo as well. You can either upload it or you can choose a sample logo which Salesforce provides. You can give any logo. Let me select this lightning one. So copy this logo URL, paste it here, and an icon URL, paste it here. And close this one. Now, if you want to enable OAuth settings, you have to click on this and you have to provide a callback URL. So I've already kept a note of it. I'll be providing it in my description as well. You can use digital signatures as well. If you have already created a server.crt or certificate file, you can upload it here by clicking on this and you have to choose your file. For this demo, I won't be uploading any digital signatures, so I will uncheck it. And now you have to select these options so as to grant the permission for your apps. So firstly, I'll select access and manage your data. You have to just select and click on this one. It will go to your right side. Secondly, I have to select access your basic information. This one. Perform request on your behalf. This one. And finally, provide access to your data via the web. I'll select. So if you select all these four options, you will be able to make the necessary changes through your connected app. And after that, it is asking require secret for web server flow. So if you want to provide a client secret, you can check this. I won't be providing any of these. And I don't want to refresh the token flow as well. And that's pretty much it. So make sure like you provide this callback URL and you select these four options, and you can provide any name, you can provide any contact email, and the logo and icon URL. And I'll click on save. Now it is telling that your connected app changes can take up to 10 minutes. It is just getting your connected app ready. You can click on continue. And one thing which we have to make a note of is this consumer key. So make sure you copy this, and I'll keep it pasted somewhere. I'll just have a note of this. So another important thing is you need to copy this consumer secret So if you just reveal it, it will show. Keep it copied and paste it somewhere. Now, once your connected app is created, you have to click on Manage and click on Edit Policies. Now we'll be updating few policies so that we can make the changes to the Salesforce org through this connected app. So in this permitted users, you have to select admin approved users are pre-authorized. So I'll click on this, click on OK, scroll down and click on save. So only this option we needed to enable. Now once you come into this page, you have to scroll all the way down and in profiles. So the user which you will be providing or your user in the org, it should be able to make that change. Now since I am a system admin in my org, you have to provide the access to that. So I'll scroll down, click on system admin, click on save. So now my connected app can be accessed through the system admin profile, and I think yeah, we are all set up to use this connected app. Alright guys, so once your connected app is ready in the Salesforce org, now you have to go to your location where you have your SFDX project. This folder structure is similar to how we create a new project in SFDX through VS Code. It's exactly the same thing. So you can go to this location or you can use VS Code, whatever is relevant for, or easier for you. But before that, let's walk you through the different SFDX commands. So first of all, there is a retrieve command called SFDX forward source retrieve. What it does is it will retrieve whatever is part of your package.xml, which is, let me just show you. In our manifest, we have this package.xml. So here you can define what component you want to take extract of. It's very similar to whatever you have developed. You can just take an extract of those things. So for now, I've kept it as a custom field. But let's just walk you through the command first. So it is asking for what kind of, from where you want to take the retrieval, and I have mentioned it is part of manifest folder, and there is a package.xml. Whatever is defined in that, I want to take an extract, and there is another parameter called -u, which is the username. So this is my username of my org. So that is from where I am trying to take the extract. Next is Auth-org. Actually, this authorization of the org comes before anything, because you need to authorize your Salesforce org so that you can take the extract or you can deploy, do whatever you want to do, but you have to authorize that. So for that we have this SFDX command, auth web login, and if you are using if you have used server keys, there is a whole lot of different command. I'll show you about that later on, but let's just go through this one first. So it is asking for client ID. Now client ID, if you can remember, is the ID which we kept copied for while creating the connected app, the consumer key to be more specific. So I have copied and pasted it here just after this client ID parameter. So after that, you have to provide this set default dev hub username, and you have to set an alias to your org. You can set up anything, you can provide any name here, and it will authorize your org. I mean, once you run this, it will ask for the server key, not exactly server key, it's the key to your connected app, which I have shown you, and I've key which we have kept as copied and kept it aside, this one. I'll show you when to use that. But for now, this is the command. So make sure you provide the correct values in this client ID. You will have to provide your consumer ID, and in setalias you have to provide the org name or anything. You can provide any name. That's not relevant. So once your org is authorized, then only you can do this retrieval or deploy. So this brings us to the deploying of our code metadata. Now let me just walk you through this. So SFDX force source deploy, it's a very famous command, and what it does is it deploys the code into the Salesforce org. Now what will get deployed is this parameter which is asking for force app. Now force app is a folder in our SFDX folder structure. Let me quickly show you that. This is force app. Now whatever is part of force app, currently this is empty, but whatever is part of the force app folder, be it fields, be it layout, be it classes, be it anything, the entire code metadata is kept inside force app. So whatever is part of that force app folder will get deployed. So this is where we are defining that, and this is the parameter for username. So the org which I have authorized, uh, that username only I'm using. If you can see, it's the same as what I have retrieved as well. And this is where you have to provide the value. And there's another parameter I have passed, which is -c, which means the code will be validated. Now, as you might be aware that we can validate the code once, we can see the error, we can fix it. And finally, when there are no validation errors, we actually run the deployment. So to run the actual deployment, you have to omit this part and just run this much command. But for the first time, we'll just validate it. So let me just keep it. All right, so let's run the commands. So you can go to this location where your folder or project is, or you can go to VS Code and in terminal you can run these commands. Now let me just do it in command prompt. It's the same thing. I'll open the command prompt in this location. Once it is open, let me authorize the org first, because without authorization we won't be able to get into the org. So let me run this. So when I ran this command, it is asking for Auth client secret or for the personal connected app. So this is the second link which we have kept aside. I've kept it here. Let me quickly copy this. I'll paste it. Now, once you have provided that ID, uh, the org will be connected. So I have already connected my org, and now I can retrieve the code or deploy the code. So let me quickly take an extract of a field which I have created in my org. And since I don't have multiple orgs, like from a source org or target org, I have just one org. I'll just take an extract of a field and I'll change something of that field and deploy it again. So let me first take an extract. So I'll paste it. Now, as I have explained you that it is going to take a retrieval from my package.xml, which is in my manifest folder. Let me open that. You can see I've provided the name for this custom field, which I have created in my org. Now, yeah, let's run the command. So as soon as you run this command, what it is doing is it is getting inside the Salesforce org through that connected app from which we have connected, and now our code retrieval is happening from the package.xml. As you can see, my code has been retrieved. Full name is account.nickname, it's a custom field, and it is at this path location. Let me confirm once. So this is my project location, and any extract goes to force app folder. So it's in my object account fields. Yeah, I have got the extract. Let me open and see. So it's a text field, and it's of the length 255. Now, as I mentioned that I'll just change a very small thing about this field. Let me change length to 250 and I'll save it. Now in my project, in the force app folder, I have changed the value. Now it is there in my local machine, but it has to be reflected to the org as well. As I mentioned, my source and target org are the same, which might not be the case for you. So let me just try to deploy the code which I changed just now. Just to show you, let me open the nickname field. All right, so you can see it's of the value 255, which we took the extract, but now I changed the value to 250. Now after the deployment, it should show as 250. So let's try it. I'll copy the deploy command. All right, now this is validation, as I have told you. So it will just validate. I'll paste it. So this is my job ID. So it is telling successfully validated the deployment. It is telling validated because I passed this parameter. So if you want to check that in the org as well, let me open deployment status. So you can see it's today's date. I have validated. Alright, so this is the build. There was only one component and validation is successful. Now I want to do the deployment. So I'll just copy this part. Copy this. I'll paste it and run the deployment. So we will validate our deployment by checking the deployment status. Okay, it is telling the deployment is successful. And let me check the deployment status. And it is showing that deployment is successful. If you can see, the previous one was validation. This is deployment. Now if I refresh this nickname field, it should be of the length 250. Let me do that. And it is as expected. The length is 250 and the deployment is successful. So this is how you can deploy your code or take a retrieval of the code or authorize your org through, from your local machines. And if you are using branches and uh, some other tool like GitLab or Azure, you have to create a proper connected app where you are passing servers keys and server certificates, and that is where you will be providing those files in the value. But this was a very basic one, and I'll be providing these details in my description and with the code and commands which I have. As I mentioned that if you are using uh, Git repositories for deployment, you can authorize your org through this command, Salesforce or JW grant, and it is taking the client ID. It's very similar to how we are authorizing, just it is taking username as parameter, the instance URL, and finally this JWT key file, which if you have to create a bin file and server.key, as I mentioned, you have to create a server.certificate and server.key to your connected app, and that is how you can do deployment through branches. But as I have shown you, this is a very basic one through your local machines, and I'll try to cover it in my next video. I hope this was helpful, and if you guys have any queries, post them in the comments and I'll try to get back to you. And if this video was helpful, please like, share, subscribe. Let's help the community. Thank you.